today. I'm dying for a cup of coffee. I've got so much stuff on my plate today. I'm hoping to get to you guys in the afternoon. So we do have some stuff to go over. I will be doing a produced live later today. It will be at noon. Hey, Sorta Morta. It's nice to see you, love bug. I was trying to do another live yesterday, but by the time I had lunch, I had things I had to get done, and I had to get Delilah out and stuff like that, and then I had to be back by 1:30, and by about 6:45, they were still talking about. It took us 5 hours to get this rehab facility pushed over the line. It was a war with the county, our county bureaucrats, an absolute war. I mean, not, obviously there wasn't a whole lot of screaming, but we knew what we were up against when the last minute changes to the agenda happened, and they front loaded that whole agenda, pushing us all the way to the end. And but we did it. We did it. It was rough. It was hard. There was a lot of bickering back and forth, a lot of wordplay, a lot of word salad. I am absolutely appalled by my own commissioner. Her commentary was absolutely over the line. But I will address that at another meeting, another general session, and I'm not going to stop until somebody or county policy for our employees has been modified. Nobody should have power to cause this much disruption in one business. I don't like it. So that's my woes, but it took a long, long time. But you know what? At the end of the day, I truly believe in recovery. I am a product of recovery, and I will always support, communities and community members wanting to have supportive roles in our community to help people. And I will always support that. Now, we're always, no matter where you put one of these places, you got the community that doesn't, anywhere else but their backyard. It's literally, no matter, you can't, you know what I'm saying? You have affordable housing. They think it's Section 8. Like, these people don't quite get it. And it's not. And, they have this stereotype. Apparently poor people aren't allowed to live in good houses. I mean, it's just, the kinds of crap that I hear in these county meetings is just, to be honest with you, you just look at them and just, what do you do? What do you do? So we forge ahead. This one was rough. It's been one of the roughest, projects I can say that I've worked on. I've probably got about 80 hours into the project just over the last month. And that's why, people don't realize I do a lot of stuff behind the scenes. You guys only see the front scenes, but I had to prepare a 9-minute video. I had to take a 3-hour video and parse it down to under 10 minutes. That's what I had to do. It took me literally 25 hours to do that. It was rough. It was rough, but I just want to say to people, there's a lot worse things that could be going on there, like untreated addicts, right? At least with facilities, that they're being treated, they're being tested, and they are sober. And many people are much different when they're sober than when they were using. So I'm a product of second chances. I absolutely believe in second chances, and I will always fight for everyone's second chance. And so that's what we did. And God bless our county commissioners. We were already light. We had 2 county commissioners not there. So we were down to 5 county commissioners, and it was a 4-1 split. So, I just don't, I almost want to cry. I've got to be honest with you. I almost want to cry. It's just, I was nervous, but I couldn't stay there any longer. I had to come home. I listened. I never left the meeting. I just physically left the meeting. We have ways to call in, and we had at the end of the meeting at 8:00 at night, by the way, they were doing future agenda, and I was wanting to speak on future agenda, but I was too tired. I didn't even want to push the #9 to speak. Or the *9 to speak, whatever it was. That's how exhausted I was last night. I got to tell you, it was a rough day. And if my brain wasn't so numb from the county meeting, I would have went live. I literally stopped being able to formulate complete sentences. That's how exhausted I was last night. I knew the only thing that I could do was get a shower and go to bed. That's where my butt needed to be. So that's what I did. And then I wake up at 4:30 in the morning, right? So I'm already coffeeed up. Well, actually, to be honest with you, I got soda up before I got coffeeed up. Okay, what can I tell you? Caffeine is for me. Okay, so here we go. Here we go. Good morning. Okay, so I've set this up because I haven't seen you guys in almost a day, and I just wanted to go through here and say hi and make this more of an informal live so we can kind of catch up on new news. I see Seth is in the chat. We always advocate for Sebastian Rogers, but one of the reasons why I don't have him up is because we're kind of just shooting the breeze. But we can always advocate for him. We can always advocate for him. And I just wanted to come in here. I'm glad everybody is here this morning. I got to tell you, it's a cold morning. It's a cold morning. Good morning. I agree. Yesterday was very tired, busy, glad to catch your live, but this is real and only Tammy Crimes. Aw, hey. How you doing, love? How you doing? Jen, good morning. I didn't even say hi to everybody. I'm reading your stuff, but I didn't even say hi to you. Sorta Morta, Busy Mama, good morning. Me and you. MJ, good morning. Our beautiful Outer Banks and Cinderella up in the house. We got a dark princess. Do we have a light princess? Dark and light. I love it. No. DNA, it's nice to see you. D-Real, good morning. Melanie, love as always. Nice to see you. Jen, good morning. Good morning. Lisa Ann, our beautiful gypsy up in the house. Hope in the shadows. It's nice to see you, love. I hope you're doing well. Brenda, good morning. Gigi, good morning. She said, good morning, beautiful people. Yes, we all are. It's a beautiful morning too. Just chilly, okay? It's 50 degrees out front, okay? Even Delilah. Now she did. Did I tell you guys that when I left the 1 year vigil for Sebastian, I woke up the next morning. It was like 20 degrees out, okay? It was freezing, okay? Below freezing, right? Freezing is 32 degrees. It was 20 degrees. And, dogs have to go. They have to go. You can't just, let a dog sleep at night and throw them in the car and take them for a 13-hour ride. You got to let them use the bathroom. And usually, my dog's kind of one of those little doggies that likes to sniff everything. I tell you about her sniffer, didn't I? She just, if I left her out there, she just walks up and down the yard, sniffing every square inch of the yard. I don't know what it is, but she's just a sniffer, right? So I put her on the ground. I have never seen a dog pee so quickly and want to be put in the car so quickly as it was when it was 20 degrees. And I bought her a cute little jacket because I knew it was going to be cold. And the jacket got here the afternoon that I left. I left early in the morning. So it wasn't here. So her beautiful jacket, which she doesn't need here in Florida, arrived, and it was here when I got back. It is adorable. And I don't even know if she's big enough for it yet. And it's a small. I don't know. She's just so tiny. Yeah, I am exhausted. I'm without a doubt exhausted. It was, well, I think one of the things for me being exhausted, good morning, me and you, by the way, is because I didn't sleep well the night before last. We had a cold front moving in, and I tell you guys about it all the time. My bones, they ache. When it gets cold or we have a cold front or a severe weather moving in, it does something to my bones. It's ever since I had the neck surgery. I tell you, I'm a Doppler radar. And so my shoulders were bothering me. So yesterday morning I was up at 2:30. So, there's a person that I collaborate with at the county. And so I ended up writing him when I realized I wasn't going back to sleep. It was like 5:30. I write him and say, look, I slept like crap last night. I'll be in the afternoon. Well, I never went back to sleep. So I'm like, well, if I'm not going back to sleep, I better have my butt up at the county meeting. So I ended up I was like 15 minutes late for the beginning, maybe 10 minutes late. No, it's probably closer to 15 minutes late for the beginning of that. But I've been up since yesterday from 2:30 in the morning until I got home at 7 o'clock at night. And then I was still on the phone in that meeting until 7:30. I think the last person I spoke to, I think I went to bed at like 9 o'clock last night. And I had been up since 2:30 in the morning. I was exhausted, so I'm sure some of that tired's probably still wearing well. And Denise, it's nice to see you. Panda Bear's mom, it's nice to see you. Good morning. Gigi, Groovy Gal. Oh, Barbosa, it's nice to see you, love. I hope you're doing well. Tammy says, good morning. I agree yesterday. Oh, I think I read that. I must have went. Oh, that's because it was right when I got to this one. I realized I didn't say hi to anybody. So good morning, Jen. It's nice to see you. Yes, sort of Morta. It was long. It was grueling. It was a long, grueling process that was made very, very, very difficult by our county. And I never want that to ever happen again. So I don't know what we need to do, but we're going to have to figure it out. I'll be talking about it every chance I get to go up to the podium. I'll tell you that. And when they get sick and tired of hearing me complaining about it, I promise you things will get done. You just got to be the boil. you got to put the time in. How much of a boil on a butt of a politician do you want to be? Okay? I want to be the biggest darn boil they got, right? I want them to roll their eyes every time I come in, right? Oh, Seth, it's nice to see you. Says, good morning, Miss Betty, Mods, Coffee Bean, and Sebastian's Army. Have a blessed day and keep the faith. Thank you, Mr. Rogers. I hope you are doing as well as possible this beautiful day. Oh, you decided to come in here. Come. Well, good morning. Come. I'll get you up here. Come. There you are. Jump up. There you go. Oh. Well, if you're going to come up here, you got to say hi to everybody. Don't be shy. Say hi, everybody. Say hi. I'm trying to talk. Okay. No, thank you. Thank you for the beautiful kisses. And when she wakes up, she stretches all her legs. And she just wants to be pet. All right, there you go. And then she got milk. And then she gets milky milk. That's how I get. I won't lie. That's how I bribe her in when she's getting stubborn and goes out there and she goes, I need her to go potty and I need to come back in here and work and she wants to go there and she wants to sniff around, which of course she's a dog. She likes being outside, right? You know how I bribe her, and I will not call it anything other than that. I bribe her. I look at her and I said, you want some milky milk? Because that's what I call it. And as soon as she hears that, she right in the house. Then I have to give her milky milk. Just a little bit in the afternoon because she has milk, like a little bowl in the morning that she drinks. What do you want? Under the covers? Good gracious. Bossy pants. MJ, it's nice to see you. YouTuber. Hi, Betty and all. It's nice to see you. Holly, good morning. Who else do we have? True Crime Justice. It's nice. Oh, changed it from Addict. Nice to see you. Karen S. Good morning, Love Bug. I hope you're doing well. Who else we have? Vicky. It's nice to see you. Enjoying life. I love it. I love the name. Dawn, good morning. It's nice to see you as well. Rena, we need to have more rehabs all over the United States. Absolutely. Especially now that we've, the country has labeled the cartels, a terrorist organization or something like that, and they've closed the border. These people are going to be struggling to fuel their dependency, and they're going to, they're going to be clever. So some people are going to receive recovery. But recovery needs to be offered, and it's the one missing thing, I think, across a lot of counties, in towns. I know that there's like very little to no hope in Kingsport for like any type of recovery house or residential treatment center. There's a lot of different things that, of course, I've learned about, as of yesterday with the whole word salad nonsense. But either way, there's not enough. And you don't need necessarily an expensive inpatient hospital type of recovery. For many, they need a sober living environment and change people, places, and things, and have a supportive network for recovery that is not an arm and a leg, right? And that's what these residential treatment centers offer. It's kind of a sober living environment. You have, you share a house, so your rent is kind of fourth or something like that, and you're around a bunch of people that have the same goal as you. And it you have staff, but it's a lot of self-regulation too, right? That's the way the Tammy house was. We had house moms, and if you didn't tell on somebody, and somebody was doing something, you would get in trouble too, because it was your responsibility to keep people safe if you knew something was going on. So if somebody got kicked out for using and you knew, you got kicked out too. There's a lot of stuff there, and I think they came to the right decision, but it's something that we all need to be fighting for, because at the end of the day, no matter how we feel about the taboo conversation of substance abuse and alcohol abuse, at the end of the day, it's a disease, okay? The medical society recognizes dependency of alcohol and drugs a disease. You know what also is a disease? Cancer, right? And if they were to put a cancer ward there, they'd have no problem with it. But because it's something that they don't know, they've got a problem with it. And I've got a problem with that. They're here to help, and I hope more people across this country support more facilities like this, and have a little tolerance if it's in your community. And instead of condemning people trying to help themselves, maybe work with them to make sure everybody can coexist, favorably, and make it more safe and more comfortable if that's what your concern is. So it's a tough discussion. How would I feel if it was down the road from my house? Honestly, I think there is something down the street at one of the houses on my street as is. I don't know what it is, if it's like a foster home for, troubled youth, or if it's some type of rehab, inpatient rehab, because I've heard, rumors. I've never looked into why, because they're not bothering me, even when the kids came down and across the street, the house was dilapidated and falling apart. The only time I ever had a problem or screamed at those kids when they tried to go in that house, but that was for their safety. And of course I was called some, ridiculous names. And I said, well, if your mama has a problem with it, just tell her, come on down here and I'll explain what's going on. But you need to get your butt on down that road. You can call me all those bad names as you're going down the road. Have a good day. Punk kids. I used to be one. SPED teachers, nice to see you. Good morning. Mickey Shell, good morning. Bren, good morning. It's nice to see you. Mag 50, D's Mystery Obsessed, good morning. Good morning. It's nice to see you. Who else do we have here? Teresa, hello everyone from across the pond. It's nice to see you, love. VA, West End, it's nice to, must be overseas saying afternoon, because it's bright. It's like 7 a.m. over here. We're starting early. It's because I woke up at 4:30. At least it's better than freaking 2:30. That yesterday sucked. That sucked, especially when you just feel like you're going to go back to sleep and you're rolling and just like, you just know you're wide awake at 4:30, and you just look at the clock and it's like, at this point, if I go back to sleep, I'm going to be more tired when I wake up. Get your butt up, get a cup of coffee. That's what I say to myself. Izzy girl, it's nice to see you. Janice, good morning. Monica, good morning, love bug. Fitness Frank, it's nice to see you. Pumping? Keep pumping? Yeah, no shit. That's what I gotta tell you. Yesterday, I was nervous. I remember because I had already left the meeting. I was driving home. I just pulled in my part, into the driveway, and I'm hearing something, and I'm like, this is the first time like I couldn't gauge the commissioners. I couldn't, usually I'm in there because we're around each other so much, because I not only that, but I've known these people for years. And it's like, we're there, we've been around each other. So you can kind of tell by the language that they're using how they're going to lean. So I can always say, I know we got this person, and this person, and we can start calculating what our results might be. We strategize. We do a lot of strategy. There was no, like, even yesterday, there was I was pulling Glenn out as people were talking, and I started hearing some hiccups. I was pulling Glenn out of that meeting to talk to him and change things up. I'm like, this ain't good. This is probably more in line of what we need to, because I prepared a video for my 10 minutes, and I only had like 30 seconds left after that video was done to speak anything else that I was going to speak. 30 seconds, that's all I had. And Glenn was supposed to come out behind me, and he had 10 minutes. We got enough signatures for both mine and him for us both to get 10 minutes. So I played the video, and then he was supposed to come up and kind of, hit the ball out of the park, which he did, and so did everybody else. And so it was really apparent, at least to us, that they had like the administrative order before they opened their doors. It didn't seem like they had any problems being in business until this code enforcer that lived in the neighborhood started causing them problems. And that's what it looked like to me. And that's what it looked like to everybody. But you know what? All they had to do was come in there for my commissioner and say, oh my gosh, you guys know how I feel about hypothetical. Hypothetical is what keeps people in fear, right? The hypothetical, you saying, oh, well, they could R and, whatever. It's hypothetical. Well, they've been in business for a year. Has that happened yet? Well, no, but we had somebody riding a bike and looking at us. Like, it got petty like that, okay? And it's like, and you got a Salvation Army on the corner of your road. Like, none of those could be coming from the homeless people that visit the Salvation Army. It's got to be coming all from this rehab, right? And then I've got a commissioner, not a commissioner. It was one of our advocates and one of the community sponsor advocates. He never had any type of drug or rehabilitation problems. He was just a support of the idea, and he's just support. He didn't come from the same places that we came from, which is nice, to have that kind of support from somebody that has never walked that path. And they're talking about how they intentionally drive very slow in that community because they don't want to upset the residents. Well, it's the residents that are honking at them, flipping in the bird and driving them around them, and then coming to the county meeting and saying, oh, we have a traffic control problem. Well, Glenn gets up there and says, yeah, because of you. I've been in there. I go there 4 times a week. I drive slow, and the only people that are rude on that road are the residents of the, it's true. I said they need to clean up their drug problem in that community before they worry about the rehab facility in that community. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. All right, guys. You guys got to hear me bellow out. Oh, what do we have? We have Grave Prime with Grace. It's nice. This 5 Bullhorn Betty memberships. Wow. If you received your Bullhorn Betty membership, please don't forget to tell Grace. Thank you so much. Thank you, Grace, from me to you and for all the beautiful people that joined. It is part of the coffee club. Welcome to this crazy crew we call the coffee club, i.e. the insane asylum. Where's my button? I do have my button. It's just somewhere around here. And I could put a poster behind me, but in all fairness, I want to make the hate channel's head spin. Oh my God. Betty's in bed again. It's so funny. I can run circles around these hate channels, county on these true crime cases, and they try to actually think that because I videotape in here where it's comfortable, that somehow this is where I stay. Well, I can tell you yesterday, we started in bed. I think we did a live right from here. Hey! Right? You don't want here all day. Lady for Justice says, good morning, Betty and Mods. It's nice to see you. Thank you guys so much. I had to scroll ahead because I started getting too many people in here, and now there's a whole bunch of messages that there's no way I'm going to be able to get to it. Did I see Mr. and Mrs. E in here? Holy smokes. Hey, guys. Good morning. It's nice to see you. We're not talking about really anything, anything. That's why I took all Sebastian stuff. I didn't want people thinking that, the hate channels. Where the heck is my vape? The hate channels. Next thing you know, oh my gosh, they didn't say anything. They always say that. So I wanted to avoid all that. Thank you for all you do, spreading awareness, going out of your way to help children that is missing. Amen to that. Amen to that. So that was kind of my day yesterday, and it was a little crazy. It was a little gut-wrenching. Oh, Mr. and Mrs. Car Guy, it's nice to see you. Love you bunches. Glad to have you here. I hope everything's going well. I don't want to be, talking about business, right? I hope everything's going well. That's all I'm saying. Panda Bear's mom says, thank you, Betty. We love you. I put myself through a meat grinder. I do. Almost on a daily. I put myself through a meat grinder. Why? I don't know. You'd have to ask my good sense. Asanya here. It's nice to see you. It's nice to see you. So, yeah, we got to get back to everything. I can say I can go over something. Because we're kind of covering two cases. We'll get over to Sebastian if you guys just want to have a little chat about it. Does anybody know... Oops, I hit the wrong button. Does anybody... Oh, hey, Periwinkle Moon. Welcome to this crazy family. It's nice to see you. Does anybody know what all transpired yesterday? I heard Mob Crew started putting out a series video. I haven't had a chance to watch it. I will be watching it today, so I'll let you guys know how I feel about that. What color do you like your coffee? I don't know. Sometimes I do black with sweetener. Sometimes I do a Betty Tay. Instead of a latte, a Betty Tay. My mind's going in overdrive right now. But this is espresso. This is Tony's. Brenda sent this to me. This is Tony fresh ground. But it's so good. What does it say? You see 3 chief fans, friends charged. Are you... there's some friends charged in that case? Are you talking about the 3 Chiefs fans that were found outside and froze to death? I remember that case. Didn't that happen like a year or 2 ago? Aw, Tammy Crimes, welcome to the family. I stayed home from YouTube. Well, apparently I did too, but I didn't mean to. It was just work. Oh, Kendra, it's nice to see you. Oh, Pete's in the house. Good morning, Pete. It's nice to see you. Or is it afternoon for you too? There's a new video out, CP teaching Sebastian how to... No, that's been out. I've seen that before. I don't know where I saw that before, but I've seen that before. That's nothing new. But none of this stuff is any age that he is now. Those everything he's put out is from years and years and years ago. I find it awfully suspect, the timing of it. But this one, the excavation one, I've seen. I don't know if I've actually saw the video, but I remember the photos that were, and that came out like Maybe it was the video, because I want to say that it came out early, like around March or April, when this case was very, very fresh. And I think it was on CP's Facebook page, because I think that's where everybody was getting it, because his Facebook was open and people, dived in. I know I did, back in the day when this first was. I went his, Katie's. I even think I looked at Melissa's. I can't remember all the stuff I did when this case was first opening. I was here. Remember, I didn't have a car when this case was going on. I was sitting without even a vehicle in my front yard for like literally months. And I still remember that. I remember how awful that was. It's one of those things where I don't leave that much, but when you got to go, like even to the grocery store, you having to go over to your neighbors, like you own a car. Why is it your car? It's just 4 months to get fixed. It spent more time in the freaking, I don't even want to talk about it. But when this case went on, I had nothing but time is the point I'm making. So I went through everything. I tore this whole case up, down, up one side, down the other, and then we tried to get out there to see what of the theories, held water. Basically, we had multiple theories. What did I think I had when I started? I think it was like 8 different theories, which was like, I think 3 or 4 different theories, but other ones that had minor modifications to the theories, which made up like the 8 theories that I had. And I was trying to see which ones held water more so than the other. And one of those theories, if you guys have been watching me from the beginning, one of the theories is I truly believe that Chris was home that weekend. This was very early on. This was some of the first assessments. This was about, I don't know, 15 to 20 days in. I started reviewing this case, and because of personal issues in my life, I was handling this case with kitten gloves at the very beginning. I didn't just automatically just jump on. I just started saying, that didn't sound right, or I want to circle back to that statement. I remember there was a lot of that at the beginning, but nothing that really pointed me one way or another, because there were multiple things. But I had already known what was being said by the neighbors at that time related to Christopher's behavior toward his stepson and some of the commentary that he had. And we were in the process of corroborating that information. And once the information was corroborated with receipts, then it was time to start looking a little closer at the mom and stepdad, predominantly the father or the stepfather, because he was the one that had these statements that we had just corroborated. And so now we're thinking there's some tension between the father and the stepson. This is not uncommon. We see a lot of, if there is abuse, there's a lot of abuse that always seems to come from the step parent. And so we were starting to see that, developing. And then by March 20th, we kind of started getting our answers on that front. So, and that was through the Smiley Story World. So there's been a lot of steps in this case that have gotten to us to where we are. And when it comes to like Dane Polson, this truly in my mind is like, when you look in their background, you're not seeing anything. Both of them come from decent families. They have a successful business. They live out in the country. And of course, I'm fortunate enough to have the experience of being in town as well as being out in the country where my roots are from, right? And I know how slower life is out in the country. And I know how much more liberty us as children had being out in the country as opposed to being at our own home because of the lack of people. You get very comfortable in that very quiet, no neighbor life, right? This is something that I'm familiar with. But just that, we used to play outside, and my mom would be in my grandfather's house cooking or doing this, doing that, and we're running around the yard. If it wasn't so scary to go to the creek, we probably would have went back there. Right? We were told not to. We kind of listened back then. So would we as kids, if on the same property, if we had been down there, thought, I think we would have been down there. I think in this case, we've just got a terrible tragedy. And I think a lot of people that are very judgmental are making judgments on this. I know it's very upsetting that a child that young is out of anybody's eyes. I mean, so much can happen. And again, it is a preventable situation, right? It was a preventable situation. We all understand that. But it was not intentional. And can you imagine just making one critical mistake and you never seeing your child again? I can't, we look for bad guys. That's what we do on this channel. We look for people that do terrible things to people. We don't condemn people that are going through the worst time in their world that made a terrible accident. At some point, if it was multiple occasions, or we could assess that this has happened so many times or something, and the mom was neglectful and it was only a matter of time before we got there, yes, I would say all day long we have a right to be heard on that. But a parent having an accident, having an oversight, it wasn't intentional. Accidents happen in our country. I don't know any way to speak about something other than saying one size doesn't fit all. Okay, it's not like that for our homes. It's not like that for human beings in general. We're all different. We're all unique. We all have our gifts. We all have our shortcomings, but we all have good intentions. And when something happens, when we're not realizing we're doing something wrong, I can guarantee that mom was beating herself up more than the public ever could. And I just, until I get something that leads me that this woman is horrible, okay, that's kind of where we're standing on the case. And I'm reading this stuff and my heart is breaking because how much more these comments are hurting a person that's already hurting so much. Accidents happen every single day. Like I said, you could be driving to school, right? Maybe you should have walked your kids that day, but you chose to drive because you're short on time. And boom, 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 you're in an accident and one of your children are gone. What if that accident was your fault? Do you think the whole damn internet should tell you what a shitty mom you are? I mean, I'm seriously asking. I mean, where is the line for we're true crime, right? We're true crime. Yes, we help in searches. This is a search that I truly don't believe a crime has been committed. So I'm not going to sit here and blame somebody unless I see gross negligence. Okay? And I'm not seeing gross negligence here. And this mom is going to forever punish herself. I don't need to do that. You know what we do? We come from a place of understanding and love, and we put their child's flyer up and say that this child is missing. And if you've seen this child, please, call the tip in. But you know what law enforcement's telling us? They're telling us that this child was down at the river's edge. And as unfortunate as that is, children get away from their parents, especially 2-year-olds. I don't think this mother ever thought that this child would be down at the river. But when she couldn't find him, she knew something was wrong. They brought in the cavalry. They have evidence that supports that this child most likely entered that water. And so we're going to keep putting information out there for our audience and updates on the case. It is my understanding, and we'll do a quick search here, but it's my understanding that they did another search yesterday and he hasn't been found. We have to remember that tomorrow he's going to be gone a week. okay? A week, 7 days. The probability of this child surviving are very, very, very low. So it's not like I want them to be low. It's just the reality of life, the reality of this situation. This is a 2-year-old child that needs mommy and daddy. And the survival rate of a 2-year-old child on their own in the wild or the wilderness is very, very low. And then you add a water component to it, he could be literally anywhere within several miles of that place. I truly believe that they need to be expanding out. They need to follow the flow of the river, and he might be caught up on something along the river's edge, you know, either on the top or somewhere underneath. But this is a 2-year-old child. We don't even know. Listen to this. I mean, I don't know what the animal life is there, but could it be possible that, you know, he was on the river's edge? Like, we have to worry about, in our country, alligators. You know, is there a possibility of something like that? We don't know. I mean, I'm not putting it out, you know, I don't want it to be any worse than it could be. I'm just saying that they believe this child's in the water, and this child loved the water. And most 2-year-old children do. He didn't know how to swim. And not only that, even if he did know how to swim, it appears that river was going at a pretty significant pace for a 2-year-old child to, you know, stand upright. So, for example, if he found something shiny in the water and went to bend over to pick it up, and, you know, the flow got him, it could be just that simple and just that quick. Life changes just like that. So I hope that everybody on this channel, even for people that have theories that don't align with ours, show compassion with those, because I'm sure that this is a hypersensitive issue, and I'm praying to God that this child's mom and father are not on social media. I've read it, and it's some of the stuff and the statements made are horrible. And so I just would like more information. If there is any fault for anybody, we are the most judgmental channel out there, right? So if there's judgment to be had, would be one of the first ones screaming from the rooftop. I don't know these people. I don't know their son. Their son looks like a beautiful boy. I'm just speaking from everything I see. There are certain things that I expect to see. Doesn't mean that that's always the case, but there are just some things that I expect to see in their history and background that I'm not seeing in their history and background if they're horrible parents. Okay? I can't make the leap of them being great parents to this, or I can't make the leap of them being out in the country and all of a sudden this abduction when they have this gaping wide freaking river behind their house. You know, it's just sad all the way around. And I just think that we just need to be praying for this family and just uplifting them with prayer and strength, you know. And I'm just going to leave it at that. Oh, but let me get some updated information. I haven't even looked. Yeah, I was just going off what I remember reading last night, but I was delirious last night because I was so freaking exhausted. Search for the missing Oregon toddler Dane Polson enters its 6th day. So they still haven't found him. If you guys are along that Siletz River or know somebody along that Siletz River, pick up the phone and start calling them. I don't care how far away from the house they are, just have them start looking in that river. If we can get some more boats where this river, flows around to, if we could start having some boats outside of their search perimeters, looking up and down the coastline. We are entering the 7th day. We know that between now and 14th day is when we would expect a body to break down and come up, okay? The pressure typically brings them to the surface, even if there are things on them, depending on the weight of those things. You can collect, just like Riley Strain. We learned a lot from the Riley Strain case. And so we're about halfway through that mark. Remember, with Riley Strain, we were starting to get to where we were thinking, a lot of different stuff. And the law enforcement kept telling us they believe he's in the water. They believe he's in the water. And every time the days, went from one day to the next, we're all sitting here saying, he's not in the darn water. We would have seen him by now, And then 8 miles, 14 days later, and 8 miles down the road, he finally surfaces. And we know that he was in the water. So, what does it say? I'll get in contact with you. Oh, Outer Banks. Yeah, you should. You should. She's sweet. She's a sweetheart. So we have to take that into consideration. So this is going to be really sad. And this is where reflection is good for all those people. It's one thing to have some theories, and we should have theories in any of these types of cases. We should not just, not think outside of the box or just listen. Law enforcement would love nothing more than for us just to listen to them, okay? We as the public aren't required to listen to law enforcement. While they have a great job to do, their job is not necessarily to advise or to be truthful to the public. That's why it is so important for freedom of the press, right? So I understand already that, law enforcement doesn't like our breed. Okay. I get it. They don't like any, media in, meddling in or covering a case or getting interviews. They don't like any of it. Okay. I get it. They have a job to do, and so do we. When we can come together and do good, we do. When it's just reporting and being nosy, again, it's what we do. But at the end of the day, we're all fighting for the truth, and we're all fighting for the victims. And sometimes it's stepping on toes and butting heads. It just comes with the territory. So that's just, and in this case, though, I really truly believe that law enforcement is going out of their way to make sure everybody understands that there is nothing to really see over here. There is no criminal activity. This really does appear to be a child in the water. As an unfortunate situation as it is, that appears to be what it is. It doesn't appear that this mother has gross negligence. And she's going to be punished for the rest of her life from this oversight. This child will never be able, most likely, to grow up. And that is, again, pending that he's in the water. Now, they are on a highway in a desolate area. Could there have been an opportunity for a stranger danger situation with this child being out of the parents' view? Yes, there is that possibility. But right now, law enforcement believes that is so low, right? And we could lean toward that, but I would rather focus on inspiring people of Oregon to get out on the Siletz River. Walk the banks. If you see something, say something. Don't touch anything. But if you're in different parts of area on that Siletz, you don't have to be right up the butt of law enforcement, because quite frankly, I truly believe that this child is probably and possibly 2 or 3 miles down the stream by now, or further. Because Riley Strain was a big kid, okay? Dane Polson is not such a big kid. Just the way my brain, and you know what? In all fairness, my brain thinks one way, but that doesn't mean it's true. It could be just the opposite, But to me, it seems like a lighter object would probably flow quicker than something that's heavier, which might take a lot of time. And so I feel like with the Riley Strain case, he was over 6 feet tall. I don't know I can't remember what his weight was. But I can't imagine that this child being more than 40 pounds. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know what a 2-year-old child feels like, but weighs like. But I've got to tell you, if I remember correctly, I want to say, isn't like 2-year-olds like 26 pounds or 30 pounds? Like, I don't know. I can't remember. Could be 25 pounds. So even lighter, like I was thinking maybe 40 pounds. I couldn't remember how heavy my grandchildren were at that age. It's been such a long time. So I can tell you what diapers they were in, but I can't tell you their weight. Oh, Fitz. Almost forgot to tap the, oh, yeah, don't forget to tap the thumbs up. Don't forget it's important, hit that thumbs up. So I just wanted to say that because I feel like I've got to say that on this case almost daily. I have to remind people that law enforcement nor any evidence that we've been presented or have been seen on social media, you know, people that have stuff, they usually post it. And everything I'm seeing that's condemning this mom or dad is all emotional response, nothing that's supported by actual fact or information. So I hope, it's my hope that we here have a different message in this case, and it's more of one of concern, love, and compassion. And I think that we need to stand up for this family. Nobody's perfect, and I truly believe that anybody going after this family is just wrong, you know. And I don't. It seems like they're not engaging, which is good. The family's not engaging, but I did want to read this one statement. I can't remember if I did not take a picture of it. Did not take a picture of it. Oh, you know what I could do? I could show you the video I presented yesterday. It's about 9 minutes. It took me 25. I bet you it took me more than 25 hours, but I'm happy to settle on the 24 hour or 25 hours. But I'm almost confident it took me a hell of a lot more than that. Okay, here it is. This is from Shamet's sister, and Shamet is Dane's mom. And it says, the love my sister and Aaron have for Abigail and Dane is out of this world. Their kids are their everything and so loved. Please pray hard for them. Thank you to everyone that's been involved in the search, in the search effort to bring my sweet nephew home. So it's much like what I've seen, you know. You kind of can there be a monster out there? Yeah, there is a park that's almost, you know, diagonal from their property on the other side of the Siletz Highway, in over the bridge. Would they be able to see, you know, what's going on their property? Not from that angle, but it does identify people would be coming and going from a park. So could there be stranger danger? Yes. And I'm going to just say that. I'm not going to talk or harp on it anymore. Yes, there could be, but I really think that we need to be giving some grace to this family. So if you guys see any hateful comments, try to end that hateful comment with a little love and compassion, okay? We're at the top of our hour. I've got things I've got to do, but after noon, I should be available. We'll probably do a live, and it's going to be a produced live. We're probably going to have that about 1:30 or 2 o'clock this afternoon. So if you have not subbed up for the Bullhorn Betty channel, you will want to sub up. Many of you guys know I set my commentary to 1 day. That means you guys can't chat in our chat boxes unless you've been a subscriber to this channel for about 24 hours. Sometimes that goes up for 5 days, depending on the topic that we are discussing. It's an effort to control my chat. Because the people that are here for these true crime cases don't need to listen to the hate from hate channels or their people. We don't want them here unless they're here to learn, unless they're here to help, unless they're here to do something other than complain, right? We're dealing with children and people that don't get an opportunity to complain. I could really care less what their complaint is. At least they have a complaint to have. These people that we talk about on this channel typically don't. So anyways, guys, it's a great day to be alive, and it's a great day to be sober. So I hope you guys are doing well. I will play that one video for you, and I'll have to take my background off. And I just want to say one more thing. while we advocate for Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, because Sebastian needs to be seen. This is the beautiful boy, handsome boy behind me, and he needs to be brought home. He has not been seen or heard from since the night before he disappeared. We're deeply concerned about his well-being. He could be anywhere, but we definitely, this is the one thing that all, at least in my opinion, all the professionals agree on, is that somebody knows something, and somebody knows where this child is and are not telling. That is definitely something we can say for fact. We want to bring Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers home. If you're coming across this video, you see me, you don't know who I am, you can reach out to me at bullhornbetty@gmail.com if you have a concern about your identity and providing information to help aid in this case. I will make sure that you are confidential. I will do whatever I can to protect you, and we will provide your information to law enforcement. I understand that this is a scary time for people with information, so I will always keep that door open for anybody that would like help or hand-holding as they come forward to explain what happened to Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. All right, so let me take my green screen off. Without further ado, this was my statement because I prepared a video based, do I have a tripod here I can use? I don't like holding this up to the phone. It's always such a pain. It hurts my arms. Of course, I always have tripods. Ow, that popped me. Here. If I say I feel like my pinky's got a bruise on it, remind me. I always forget where the bruises come when they start surfacing. Remind me it was from my tripod. Because I'll think it's from the dog. That hurt. All right, let's get this. I'll do it in the upward.
More time incarcerated from 11 to 33 than I spent at home. My drug addiction brought me 2 incarcerations.
I used to have addiction back then. I come over here, I got into a program. I found God. I found the Lord Jesus Christ in that finding.
Manatee County comes together to fight for the crossings, a rehab facility desperately needed in Manatee County. We are begging for the commissioners to please help. We shouldn't even be before you today.
From the first time I was introduced to that neighborhood, I was going to get narcotics.
I remember hearing the reputation of Onico when I was growing up, and it never was a good reputation. You know, drug activity is nothing new to this area. Basically, a success story coming from Onico is unheard of, rather than just hearing about dope and the dope man in Onico. So
I was a criminal, and I was a bigger threat when I was homeless than before I got in recovery.
United States Army veteran. I'm under the Vietnam era. It took 50-something years for me to gain 11 years of sobriety. And to give back to society for 50-something years what I've stolen from you people.
Jim Rogers and his leadership in residential treatment has had a major impact on my life. I spent 15 years of my life in drug addiction. Having the desire to quit was just never enough, you know, until I met Jim and his whole team of superheroes.
He's got the heart that he has for the lost and the broken.
And people like Jim Rogers gives people the opportunity to do that. I had a terrible mother, and I now have 3 beautiful children with my husband, and I am able to confidently look my children in the face and know that I am doing a good job and that I am loving them correctly because Jim Rogers came and gave me a second chance.
Yeah, you know, I said, you know, I'd love to have the opportunity to preach. Could I become a preacher? Would that be possible for me? What does that look like for me? I'm a pastor today.
I wasn't even going to speak, but this lady over here inspired me. I have not just found something to do. I have found myself in helping other people out of the very bondages of addictions.
I can't believe we're even having this conversation. Why can't we just do the right thing?
Are we penalizing the crossings to conduct business the way the facility was originally approved to do?
This facility has been operating as an assisted living facility or some type of rehab facility since 1986.
Our veterans should not suffer because of poor policy from this county, and it is. The wording is terrible. The policy is terrible. You know, this idea that Mr. Wenzel went out there with code enforcement. I'm big on property rights. They didn't have a warrant. Code enforcement shouldn't even be allowed on that property, but they were invited, right, by county. So they're in there writing tickets for plates and all this other stuff by a code enforcement officer that lives in the neighborhood that shouldn't even been there. This whole cabal of obstructionists to this project is unacceptable. I'm going to break anonymity here. I've been clean and sober 18 years. I go to meetings. I'm a sponsor and I have sponsees. I can relate to the veterans that come in there damaged, that are alcoholics and substance abuse, because I've been there.
I mean, we rubber stamp a lot of stuff around here, but this we're arguing about for over an hour. It is clear the general public is not happy with the planning and development of this community. They've pretty much fired the county commission because of it, this issue. And that is a direct result of approving bad projects and denying good ones. This is a good project. And what people up here don't know, it was a facility like this that saved my life. Okay? I am who I am today because of the Tammy House in Northport. I'm here, sober, free, have been for years. You guys have seen me out here kicking my boots for years. And it's because of a facility like this. I absolutely 100% believe in this, and I think you guys should approve it.
And Jim Rogers taught me how to live. He taught me how to love other people just because they're people. And I wouldn't have that if it weren't for him. I would probably be in a homeless park on drugs with almost everybody else in this community.
My wife and I are partners with the crossings, and we support them. I'm not a counselor. I'm not a previous addict. In my time with the crossings, what I've witnessed, the growth that I'm witnessing in people's lives is just awe-inspiring, and I don't feel worthy to describe it.
Because this leadership has helped me become who I am today. And today I'm a single mom, and my daughter's 8 years old. I have been clean from methamphetamine for 9 years. About 9 years ago, I removed substances out of my life, but just because I removed the substances doesn't mean that I truly got to walk in freedom. But I'm a product of who he's talking about and who this leadership stands for, and what they do for others. And just because I was that homeless-looking person that was all over the place, been to prison, treatment centers multiple times, just because I was that doesn't mean I did not deserve an opportunity.
I will say a little historical background. I've been doing this for about 2 decades. I'm on my 3rd term on the Sarasota Criminal Justice Commission. I'm in my 9th year on the Mental Health Substance Abuse Planning Council. I work with the 12th Judicial Circuit and provide treatment therapy to the jails.
What's the difference between the crossings and Centerstone? I'm very familiar with Centerstone.
Centerstone is a full-service clinical medical facility. We have a contract or an MOU with Centerstone for the psychiatric medical portion. So if there was a client that needed medication-assisted treatment, Centerstone is our contracted partner.
Okay.
Yes.
How often are you testing for drugs?
Random and cause tests every single day.
I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. I like to do this in kind of piecemeal. So I still want to focus on the point of someone deemed this property abandoned on January 23rd, 1998. What I want to focus on, especially what cases
That's my lawn guy. Oh, hush. 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 Hush it. Tell the audience about it. All right, I'm coming. I'm coming. All right, here you go. You weed eated it? All right. Take care. God bless. Take care and God bless. All right, we're back. Let me crawl in here. All right. Lawn is done. Love it. Get him, Delilah. All right, let's go back just a little bit. Let's go.
Says on, especially from a legal standpoint, what basis are we saying is abandoned? And what legal documents will we have to prove that it is abandoned? Do we have any documentation to show there was a building removed? There was anything that goes to the definition of abandoned?
We, as Manatee County, would deem it as abandoned because the use has changed. Oh, no, I'm getting
That's
to
not
your
the definition of
question.
abandoned, though, right? Abandoned says you have to remove furniture and things like that. I think that's what you showed us. Well, what?
It's like if it's an ice
What if
cream
they didn't
shop
have
and
to
it's
shift
changing to a
any-
bank.
Yeah, I don't see any shift in a treatment facility versus a group home care. It's the same furniture and things like that.
If a non-conforming use is discontinued for a period of 1 year, then that use shall not be renewed.
This group, Crossings, they're trying to do a residential treatment facility, which this property was approved to do in 1997.
They are providing a tremendous service to these veterans that could be there. So this whole thing's of months and months of going back with staff and attorneys. It's ridiculous.
Out of all the poor decisions you make, let's make a right decision for once. God bless.
And I think the moral compass of this board is going to improve this because we have to do it for the betterment of the community. For the record, Glenn Jablina.
There you guys go.
I found recovery and little backstory.
I know you guys don't get to see all the stuff you guys sponsor by sponsoring this channel, but you guys should know that you guys have a hand in that. So the next time people say, "What have you done?" Well, I can guarantee those people that now have a safe place are very appreciative. Right? They're very, very appreciative. I bet you we changed their outcome. We changed their life. We changed the direction of their life. We can't change everything, but we can help where we can help. And this is like I said, I always try to inspire people to go out, be a part of their community, help make policy for their community. And if you can't, find somebody that can. It's important work that every single county and city needs across this country. It doesn't matter what is next to your name, whether it's a D or an R or an I. You still have a right to have your voice and you have a right to make an impact on your community. And this is something that I think is bipartisan. Again, I don't go in there with self-serving purposes. Every time I go to my county meetings, it's for somebody else. It's for the community at large. I really, in all fairness, I don't have a whole lot of issues. I mean, what's my biggest issue? I got a guy that has the too tall of trees in their backyard. Like, that's to the extent of my issues here. I have low taxes. I don't really have a lot of the problems that the other people. I don't really utilize the roads that much. So when I need to go do things, I do them during, non-peak times. It gets me through. The roads are empty, so I don't have all the problems everybody else has. I'm very rarely in a traffic jam here because I don't go anywhere. And when I do go places, I usually go places during more appropriate times because I don't like traffic jams and I don't like waiting. So I work around it. But I thought that was very important. If you guys want to know why you guys didn't see me, that was the video I presented to yesterday's meeting that was taken from the Planning Commission back in January. And this was a project I really wanted to see over the finish line. And yesterday, finally, about 8 o'clock at night, we got the vote. It was a 4-1 vote. And we're able to now start changing and healing some of the damage done by the substance crisis we've had in this country. That's not new. I mean, we had substance abuse issues starting as far back as the 60s, even further behind that, but that's when it really got exploited, was in the 60s. And while the substances have changed, the addictions have not. And we strive to save lives. We don't strive to hurt them. So code enforcer out. Nope. He called that in. So I'm no longer really going after the code enforcer as much as I'm going after the actual part, the people that are heading these departments, because at the end of the day, it was one of our employees that called it in. From my understanding, he called it in on his off time, which went to his supervisor. And of course, his supervisor is going to have his back. Next thing you know, they're going up to the people that are making decisions. Now this administrative order is going out the window, and now they may be face closing, having to close their door. All because of the shenanigans of one code enforcer, and then getting our county to play ball with him to try to throw this business, this lawful business, out of the lawful place that it was designed to be in. It really ticked me off, and it's something when I have a bone to pick, it doesn't stop until it's resolved. If it takes me a month, if it takes me 3 months, 6 months, 2 years, I will promise you, before it's all said and done, we're going to have new policy for our employees. And if they're already Somebody better be getting written up. Somebody better be losing their promotion for the next 12 months. We're going to figure it out. It takes some time to work through the process, but this is not something that's going to, they made this company pay a significant amount of attorney fees to fight them. And do they have a little meat to their bone? Yeah, they have a little meat to their bone, but it was done in bad faith. So that's where the advocates and activists come in. Many of you probably don't even know it, but you probably have a few of your own in your own county meetings fighting on your behalf. So you want to make sure that you get with them as well, so they understand what your what your concerns are, because those are the people that are going to be helping, making sure your concerns are addressed at those county meetings when you don't even know they're going on. So it's a lot of work. That video right there took me, like I said, over 25 hours to compile. It was over 3 hours of planning commentary on this one project. It was over 5 hours of commentary on the project last night. It was very exhausting. Like I said, by the time I left there at 6:45, my brain was numb. By the time I got back here and talked to my BFF, my brain was numb. I couldn't even, by the time I got off the phone, I was not even forming complete sentences. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going live. I'm not going live. I'm going to sleep it off, and then we'll decide in the morning. But I do have some appointments today that I have to get to and I have to be prepared for. And then we'll be live. Like I said, I've got a meeting from 10 to noon. So after noon, I should be compiling a pretty decent live. We're going to be going over a few other stories in the news, and then we're going to dive into Dane, and then we're going to look at some updated information about Sebastian. If you guys have any questions for Dane, or any theories or anything you want to explore before this afternoon or this evening's live, please send me your commentary to bullhornbetty@gmail.com, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. I can't get to every single one of them, but I will try to pull a few of those and have an open discussion on those. for each of you guys. So if you'd like to do that, again, please send your thoughts and or commentary and or questions to bullhornbetty@gmail.com. All right, guys, I love you. God bless you. Have a great day until we meet again at around 1 or 1:30. God bless.